Hi, everybody. Welcome to the next episode of the Date-demic, where people of all ages, genders, and walks of life share their dating and relationship experiences and perspectives. The end game here is to hopefully help people better understand each other, whether you've been in a relationship for years or developing a new one or just starting to date. We've got you. I'm Rhonda. I'm your host today and every day. Today I'm excited. I have a couple of boneheads I'm interviewing, Lex and Tyler, and just stay tuned because Lord only knows where it's going to go. What dictates the longevity of a relationship?
Forgiveness.
Forgiveness?
Whatever the one common theme when you talk to these old motherfuckers that have been together forever, it's like, man, how did you do it? Forgiveness, patience. Those are the two things that everybody says because they encompass so much.
Well, I've also heard, not to cut you off, I've also heard that throughout, I mean, you gotta think about, when I think about me, how freaking squirrely I am, like how I could be one day want to do this thing and want to I'm interested in this, and the next day I could be interested in this, and then suddenly I'm a homebody and I want to stay home all the time, and I want to work on my house, and then
So it
I get hair on my
goes
ass
back
and I
to
want
two people trying to navigate their own freaking channel.
Yeah, because you're your own person and you're going to change so much throughout your lifetime. So is your partner. And, if you can't accept that, you're going to get different versions of this person, a lot of people don't like change. They don't handle change very well.
How did your relationship start, Lex? Let's go there.
Yeah, my relationship started in a really it was not the best. It was kind of unhealthy.
Explain.
Well, I met this guy, and the very first night that I met him, we hung out. I wouldn't say it was very personal, or it was just kind of very lax, drinking, listening to music, really no conversation that was of any, it didn't have any depth to it or anything. And we slept together on the first night. And
so at some point there had to have been some type of attraction.
Immediately there was attraction, but sleeping with someone on the first night, I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. I know people frown upon that. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's a bad thing all the time. I do think that it probably doesn't set the best, standard. I think men
foundation.
Also, yeah, and I think men have a different view on this than women do. Also, I think that a man would be way quicker to judge a woman for sleeping with somebody on the first night than a woman would.
I think it depends on the man, because I've experienced men that think it's okay because that's what they do. That for them is the norm.
Yeah.
That's the type of chicks that they deal with.
Uh-huh.
But a person that's looking for something more is going to frown upon it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Tyler, come on. Chime in, dude. Chime in now.
I'm just listening, man.
Well,
no,
anyway,
if you sleep with someone on the first date,
I say that if you're looking for a long-term relationship, if that's what you're out for,
mm-hmm.
and you sleep with somebody on the first day, you are assuming the risk of being put into that box.
Uh-huh.
Yes, I agree.
Because it's okay.
Fair enough.
There's somebody out there that's got better game, probably a little cuter than me. Definitely somebody out there with more money. Probably somebody out there got a bigger dick. If it's not me, it's just like cheating. If it's in you, it's in you.
Mm-hmm.
So you plant that seed in your man's head, oh yeah, I got that the first night. That's my girl now. But the first time she goes out for a girls' night, that's in her.
Fair enough.
She can fuck somebody first night.
Fair enough.
So then all of a sudden,
fair enough.
At the same way the bond was born, the distrust was planted at the exact same time.
Yeah.
And there's insecurities involved in that and everything, but
So let me ask you this: you don't believe there's that rare?
I believe it's rarer than people say. People use the word rare, but they use it in a very common way.
Yeah, it's loose.
Rare is fucking rare.
No, and the reason I asked that because I've had casual sex with a couple people.
But you don't.
But there's the one that I said, you know
rare,
what? No more.
If it's rare,
no more.
Same
then you
here.
don't know 3 or 4 people that have, the rare occasion that 3 or 4 people meet someone, sleep with them, and that's their forever.
And because that's not the type of people
occasion.
that I would associate with per se.
Why?
Because
People
I'm
who are
just
in their forever relationships.
no, just people that go out there and have casual sex with
But if
people.
if they met there forever,
That's not true.
What do you mean?
That's not true.
Oh.
Because both you and I have had casual sex with people while you and I were both hanging out together.
But let me explain this to you.
We
in
did.
53 years, stop, boop, boop, boop. In
this
50,
is not. Don't
No.
add disrespect to the
Stop.
conversation.
No,
because
I'm
it
adding-
isn't.
this
I'm
is
adding
in
effect.
53 years. I've done that one time,
Uh-huh.
and it was a year. It
Yeah.
was after you know who and I
Yes.
got divorced.
Yeah.
It was that year after.
There's
I haven't
nothing-
done it since.
Oh my gosh.
Once,
There is nothing wrong with it.
once I met that one, I stopped.
I same with me.
Okay, so continue on.
Very much the same
Tyler?
with me.
Be quiet.
I've said what I had to say.
The thing
Go ahead.
is,
So you
when-
met him.
I
You had
think
sex the first night.
Yes, and what happens is, I think there's I do think that there are a few things that you have
Come
to
into play.
realize when you do something like that, okay? Because you kind of jump the gun a little bit and you kind of give this part of yourself to someone, right? And so those feelings of like really strong attraction, they're way stronger. The expectations become way higher. You need this person to reassure you now. You need their attention now because you gave this part of yourself to them so fast. Whereas, a lot of times in relationships, people who are looking for longevity, they like to play it safe and they like to take it slow. They do it on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
They do it on purpose, right?
I agree.
Because they're after this thing and they want to make sure they, go about it in the right way. So you might spend 3-4 weeks texting, talking on the phone, going out on dates before you ever even dive into the sexual aspect of a relationship. When you do it right away, it's very tough at that point to set boundaries to build the foundation that you are looking for. You kind of take you don't give yourself a whole lot of options that way. You don't have much of a say. It would be really hard for you to go back and create a boundary or put a wall up and get the things that you're truly seeking because you've already given them the cookies. They don't have to work for, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And so, that little bit of a power struggle that people have in the beginning or whatever, where they can make those plays and they can put you off till Sunday. I'm sorry, I'm not free this night. I'll see you then. The desire, the want, the mystery is gone. It's totally gone. And so then you skip to like the second part of a relationship where now you are having sex. However, the relationship hasn't grown deep or the foundation has not really been built, and so now it's physical. And I remember after that, every time that we would kind of like get together, make plans and things like that, it wasn't to go out on and have sex, leave in the morning, go to work. There was never any.
And so when did it change?
It was very rough before it got better, actually. So what happened was,
So listen, I'm going to interrupt. So at
Yeah.
no point in the beginning when it was rough, because my mindset is if it's rough in the beginning, what makes you think that it's going to get better?
Very good point. So what happened was we were doing this casual thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, it just, it started off like that. And so it wasn't really, it wasn't going well. You know what I mean? And so then we're just casual. There's no, and I come on really, really strong because now I'm feeling like I did this thing and I'm not getting the attention that I want. I'm not getting the response that I was desiring. You know what I mean? So I'm coming on really strong because now I'm like, what the heck, you're not going to diss me. You know how it goes. You know how it goes. You get offended. You become offended, and then you've got to make it yours. You've got to make it happen, you know? So then that makes the other person very uncomfortable. And so then, you know, it ended up, we didn't talk much. And he actually started sleeping with someone else. In the meantime, I realized that I'm in love with this guy. You know, I had super strong feelings for him, right? So in the beginning, I'm like angry. I'm like, I can't believe this, you know? And then it comes around to me being like, but I love him and I want him to be happy. And if that's what makes him happy, that's totally cool. And then next thing you know, I'm sleeping with him. He's sleeping with her. It was horrible in the beginning, right? And so then I was like, you know what? Do whatever you want. I'm gonna back off. This is your deal, whatever. And I had to kind of like deal with like sort of a breakup that never happened. Like it wasn't. We were never in a relationship. So I'm going through all this. He's entertained by this other girl. He doesn't care.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then I became very distracted. Thank God, because it did put me in a bad place mentally. So I became very distracted. And this is just how I see it through my eyes. You know. Mm-hmm. So I become very distracted. I end up, you know, going through the process of purchasing my home, which you know how that goes. This like takes up all your time. You don't really, you know, you can't think about anything else because you're working and you're, you know, doing this big thing, and that happened. And then, what do you know? All of a sudden, everything is positive in my life. It's all flowing. It's all good. Well, here he comes. Here he comes. And
what do you think changed?
Maybe, I don't know. I don't know if maybe he, you know, I don't know. I'd have to ask him. I don't know. I'm really not sure. But
You never asked?
I never asked. So we started talking again, and I was very cautious because I knew that I loved this man, you know. And well, we did sort of talk about it. When he came back around, you know, he was very apologetic for the way that things went down. And I mean, honestly, you know, I acted and behaved in ways that I never had before, and it was really ugly, and I was in a really dark place. So anyway, you know, he basically, actually, he told me that he had fallen in love with me, and he told me the moment he knew when, and he told me that he tried to fight it for some
Was it
time.
legit? The moment that he told you when, did it sound believable?
I knew it.
Because I'm one.
I remembered the moment. I mean, and it was amazing. It was unspoken. I didn't know that it was as profound for him as it was. I didn't know that.
So what was the moment?
Until he told me.
You got a phone to share.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna sound really simple, and it was, but you know, it was, we were driving in the car together, and, something like actually terrible had happened that I'm not gonna talk about because it's too personal.
Okay.
And so we were kind of going through this struggle. We ended up in this struggle moment together. We weren't struggling, but there was a situation that we were, you know, had become a part of, and that we were kind of going through together all of a sudden. It was wild. It was just crazy. And I just remember we were driving in the car together, and he was the only comfort I had in the moment. And so, you know, when we were having casual sex, right, I didn't feel like I could approach him as like my man. You know what I mean? You can't just reach out and touch someone like that. You know, it's weird.
Right.
There's like this barrier for some reason. It's a mental thing. But I just remember that day, it was a tough day, and I reached over and I grabbed his hand. And I could feel him tense when I did that. And I thought I made him uncomfortable, but I had just held on because it was so comforting in the moment. And then later on is when he told me, you know, that day in the car when he grabbed my hand, he was like, I knew in that moment that I was in love with you. You know, and so I guess that then, thank God, became more of a foundation for what was to come. That we had both expressed that we knew that we'd fallen in love with each other. There was like a moment and this experience that we shared together that was really tough that we got through. And
But do you really think a moment can be that profound?
yes, I do. 100%. Yes, 100%.
Because it's what you wanted, or because it's what you truly believe?
No, it was because
Have you ever had a moment with anyone else?
not like that. Not like that. And if I had known in the moment the intense feelings that he was feeling, it would have made it even more special. But unfortunately, I didn't know what he was feeling.
Right.
You know? So, anyway, what happens next is, good Lord, where were we? So yeah, he wants to, we're talking, and I eventually moved into my house, and I'm really busy, and I think it then became a challenge for him, like a little bit of a chase thing.
Men like chasing.
Men like
Men
it,
like
yeah.
to chase.
Because I was so busy, I couldn't see him. I didn't have time, I just didn't have time. I couldn't respond immediately. I couldn't, have conversations for hours at night. I couldn't, hang out. I was busy. And so I remember when I moved in my house, he wanted to bring me a housewarming gift. And I put him off because I literally I was busy. And he pretty much, what I would say, I wouldn't say forced in a bad way, but he tried every angle to see me sooner than what I had said.
Right.
Like I said, I'm really busy, maybe
So he tried to control the narrative.
I'll see you on Sunday. Well, once I did that, I think for him it was like a little bit of a challenge. And so he made sure that he kind of he found a way in to see me sooner than that, basically. And he was very sweet. He came by briefly. He brought me my housewarming gift.
You call it sweet, but it could be construed as controlling.
It could.
Mm-hmm.
It could. But in the moment, it was very genuine.
Yes.
Very sweet, and I believe that. Totally believe that the intentions were all good, but I think that little controlling nature, or like was
Does it resound now?
Nah, not in that situation. No, I think that was truly genuine. Do I think that there was a hint of that in there, like kind of like a subconscious thing, maybe? But yeah, so that's basically how our actual relationship started. Before that, it was just like a bunch of drama.
So let's jump from the chase to today. Where are you guys now?
So different.
How so?
So different.
Is the honeymoon stage over?
The honeymoon stage is most definitely over.
And how long have you guys been together?
It's been, I guess, like a year.
Okay, so the honeymoon stage is over. Okay, and Tyler, we're gonna jump back to you for a minute. We were talking about longevity.
Yeah.
How do you, once the honeymoon stage is over, and I gotta tell you, Lex, it usually lasts longer than a year.
Yeah.
But once the honeymoon's over, what
do you think
keeps
makes the honeymoon end, Ty?
I would
complacent?
argue
People get complacent.
I would argue with what you guys are saying. Not argue, but I have a different viewpoint. You guys are saying in love, falling in love. I believe that nowadays in love is confused with
lust.
In lust.
Let's look at the definition for love. Being in love.
Infatuation.
See what it means. Infatuation is huge.
Because the honeymoon phase, that's what that. Gosh, this is everything.
I see it, I like it, I want it, I get it. I'm happy.
It's a microwave
I'm in
world.
love.
I want it now.
Yes.
I'm in love with
I don't own a microwave, by the way.
Where you fucking up?
No.
You know?
No. I don't need a microwave.
Debatable.
It's a microwave world, you said. Everybody
Yeah,
wants things fast, everybody wants it now, and then shit doesn't last. Because it's like,
people are like, I need to care for me.
So you know what? I think
like
the honeymoon ends quicker.
Self-love and vanity are all misconstrued. And it's everything is all the lines between everything is blurred nowadays.
Yeah.
And what I'm getting ready to say sort of touches on what Tyler's saying.
Yeah.
And that is the reason the honeymoon ends earlier for some people is because they're not in love. They mistake love for another
There are so many
feeling
times
or
where
another.
You genuinely feel like you want something. You have it mapped out in your mind. And then
Yeah.
you get it, and once you get it, it's like, damn, I don't want that as bad as I thought.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought I was in love with that idea.
Yeah.
I thought that was my passion. And then I got it, and it's like, damn,
I never
need
lost.
something
I
new.
never felt like
I
that
need
though.
something else.
I never felt like that. I just felt like. I mean, I still don't feel like that. It's just that it takes a lot more than love or that feeling to make a relationship strong and make it work, you know?
Well,
like,
a long-term relationship, you gotta find a way to make it work when you don't feel like you love the motherfucker.
right.
When you're angry, you know, all the other
Yeah.
emotions. Everybody talks about love. What about the resentment that you didn't mean to hold, but you're holding from that situation
Yeah.
6 months prior,
Absolutely.
and it's affecting everything that both of you do.
Well, I think if you're
Yeah,
if you're
love
holding on
is-
and can't work through resentment, then you probably don't have good communication in your relationship. I would have to assume,
But
right?
it's easy to break all that down from a third person, but when you're in it,
I could
Totally.
immediately
How do you navigate?
I could immediately say yes if you're holding on to resentment, then yes. But for me, and I'm that person,
Yeah.
I can say, okay, we're good. But
Yeah.
if you do something that is very like,
It's all gonna come
It's
back.
not
it's
just
all
you,
gonna
though.
come back.
Hell,
it's not
it's too
just you,
familiar.
you have that.
I mean, if I tell you to text me in the morning and you do it for 2 weeks straight and then you don't text me in the morning for a day, all right, well then you fucking failed. And the last 3 times that you've done the same shit, I'm spewing on you.
Yeah.
I'm fucking spewing all over you.
Yep.
Well, also the standards that we hold others to, I think sometimes, like, I know.
Are you what you're looking for?
Right.
Is what it boils down
Yeah.
to.
I know sometimes
You're
I have
looking for
expectations that
XYZ.
even I can't
Are
meet.
you doing the things?
Yes.
If you met you and you knew all of your dirty little secrets,
Yeah.
would you still pursue you?
Good point.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? We want
Yeah.
what we aren't.
Yep.
Mm.
Yep. Yep.
But
You know
this
what
is
I'm
the
saying?
problem
I can't
for
always
me.
say that about myself. I can't always say that I'm demonstrating. I'm demonstrating the actions or the thought
That you
processes
would like
or
to see in
whatever.
someone else.
That if I met a girl and she was doing those things, I'd be like, oh man, this bitch is for the streets. You know what I mean? That's not wifey.
Yeah.
But then there are other times where I'm doing
So do you
everything
think
right,
that a
and I
person
just
literally can't change if they do fall in love? You think people can't change? You think people just are who they are and that's it?
I think yeah.
I think it
Because
depends.
I-
I think it depends on if it's a lifelong career or if it's just you've been through a fucked up time and you're doing fucked up things short term.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, I see the good in people because I'm a good person.
I think the same thing.
I'm gonna and I.
You can change, but it's not going to be because you met somebody. If you change, it has
Yes.
to me. It has to be because you look back and you were ashamed, or you look back and you were critiquing yourself, and you're like,
Yeah.
damn, dude, I fell short.
Absolutely.
And for me, it was twofold.
And
It
you
happened
have
at
to-
the same
You
time.
got to change for you.
Yeah.
If you're changing for anything other than that, then it's not going to be lasting.
Because you're not growing.
Yeah, so
might
if you
be
do it
temporary,
genuinely,
you know what I mean?
then
It's
the
not
rest
from-
will fall into place for you because you're doing it
It's got
genuinely.
it's got to be because you're
And
doing
you're like,
yourself
I'm gonna
and-
make these changes because this is what I want out
You're
of life.
doing
And
a
if I
self-eval,
don't
and
do
you're like,
this, I'm
"Damn,
not gonna get what I
I'm
want out of
fucking
life.
up. Like, I'm not who I would want my son or my daughter
Yes.
Accountability.
to be.
Yes.
I'm not who I would want to meet.
Yeah.
So you change for yourself for that reason.
Yeah.
But if you meet somebody and 6 months in you're in love and that's why you're changing, that's just gonna wear off. Just
For
like
me,
the
and I'm gonna be
infatuation
honest
stage
with you.
is gonna wear
Listen,
off.
you know what woke me up a little
It's
bit.
not a Matthew
That
McConaughey
year
movie.
after
That's
my
a good point. People are way
that year after my marriage, I was in a fucked up mental. It was fucked
Oh
up.
my gosh, I've been there.
Okay,
100% been
but
there.
you know what? what woke me, what I was woke.
Whoa.
What was my son, my 32-year-old would
She's
say,
lying, I'm 26.
whatever, would say these hoes ain't loyal. And at first I laughed it off, but then I thought to myself,
And when I said
oh my
hoes,
gosh.
I meant men and women.
No,
It's not just women.
but
because a
for
lot of
me,
people
I
live in
thought I don't want to contribute to my son looking at women that way.
Sure.
I mean, because he's my best friend.
Not just
I tell
women.
him everything.
I've
So
been
he was
around men, I've been
aware
around
of
women,
that.
and I see these people moving in ways and it's wild to me. It's wild. Like these people who are in Instagram successful relationships, and you see them out in public, and there's a person who's not their fucking husband that they're standing in between his legs, you know what I mean, with their hand on his knee, and it's like, hold on.
Yeah.
I bet hubby who's at home watching the kids doesn't fucking know about this.
Right.
And y'all seem mad happy on social media. And it's like, yo, I don't want that.
Men
Because
and
I'm
women-
telling you, for the record, put this on wax. If I find somebody and we get married and I catch you cheating, I'm killing both y'all. So I'm staying single. Because these hoes ain't loyal and I don't want to have to kill y'all.
You definitely heard him. I see. I see the decibels going. Boo, boo, boo.
I'm
But the
killing
thing is,
both
men
y'all.
and women both, we all know this is true, right? We all know that everyone out there, I don't give a shit who you are, everyone has the capability to do these things.
But
People,
you meet
if
that
you have
person that
self-control,
stops you in your tracks.
100%, then you will get your shit together. And it's not because you're not I think it's unfair sort of to say that you're making these changes because you're in love, right? You are in a sense, but you have to commit to yourself like, yo, I want to be with this person. I love them and respect them.
And they
I
make
cherish
me want
them,
to be
and
a
I
better
want to do
person.
these things because I want to be
I want them to be proud of me.
exactly, and I want others to be able to look at our relationship and respect it and know that we respect each other because that shit is strong and powerful and it's beautiful when it works. It's amazing. It's admirable. It's like you know.
And I'm
we
gonna
used
tell
to
you.
look at couples like this, and we used to be like, oh, goals. But now everything is just like separate, so everybody's empowered, and that's fine. But like, think about how the tone has changed so much. Like, people used to look at these strong couples that lasted forever and be like, I want that. I want that's what you strive for. Well, now it's different. It's like people strive to be empowered. Which
They
is
question
cool.
everything.
But it's like it creates kind of like a divide. Like instead, just like come together and bring all that together and work together, and then do it as a team. I don't know.
Yeah, but the problem is there's
like,
okay, and we spoke on it earlier.
yeah.
This is the thing. I had a 10-year relationship, and I'm gonna say I always bring this up because for me it's important. It was a 10-year relationship. For me, 10 years.
Right.
10 years was a long time.
That is a long time.
But what made it work was past the honeymoon stage. It wasn't about money.
So how come
It
after
wasn't-
10 years you walk? Not you particularly.
Okay, I'll go into that.
But
Okay, but it lasted 10 years because I trusted
yeah.
beyond reason. I knew that he would
It's the
never.
most, like, people
It's
talk about
priceless.
You
trust.
didn't develop
But
insecurities in
no,
this relationship.
as much-
Insecurities
No.
will freaking kill
As
people.
much
No.
as trust is discussed and people highlight it, and I need to trust you, it's still the most
Yes.
undervalued asset in a motherfucking relationship.
Yes.
Okay,
Because, like,
before
if
we
you-
take a break, I'm going to say the reason I ended it was because I was bored out of my mind and I was trying
Are you
everything.
Are you
Listen,
addicted to trauma?
no, not at all. But listen,
No, because seriously-
I tried to bring him into that. Travel with me, ride motorcycles with me, but he had no interest.
Oh,
His
so it
interest-
in the world.
His interest was drinking and can jam. And I needed more stimulation than that.
I see.
But I will say this, it's a discussion that we had 3 years before I left,
Yeah.
in that we need to work on our marriage.
And you feel like he didn't
I felt like he
Meet
did
you
what most men
halfway.
do, and that is they become complacent and they figure that you've been there, so you're always going to be there, and you're not going to go anywhere. You're just spouting off. You're just talking, and it's going to pass.
Those dangerous
This too
assumptions.
shall pass. Dangerous assumptions. And I had finally had enough.
People
I did
stop
not.
working in a relationship.
Yes.
They stop working.
And you know what's crazy?
You gotta keep
After we
chasing each
divorced,
other.
I have to speak on this. After, because he's going to hear it, and I want him to hear it. After we divorce, he becomes the man.
That you wish. Motherfucker's in shape. He got shoulders.
Started
biceps.
running. I was the one running. When we were married, I was the runner.
Yeah, my man can
Now
go
he
legs,
runs.
personal trainer right now. He looks no homo. He looks good, man.
Yes.
He looks good.
Now he's become that
Like,
man.
he wears them sleeveless shirts.
Yes.
Then
And I'm
maybe,
like, God
maybe
damn,
goes
bro,
to
then
the
maybe
arms.
you
Listen, he
maybe
goes
you
to
served your
these
purpose
fucking.
in his life.
When
He's
I was
boxing.
listening to hillbilly music, bluegrass, he hated it. He hated it.
That's his
Now
shit
he
now.
goes to bluegrass festivals.
Yeah, no bullshit.
It's like, dude.
So it wasn't your
the
time together.
fuck?
You served your purpose in his life.
And
Alright.
you still got your
You
eyes
know?
from it. I see you. I know you got your eyes
We'll
up
take
from
a
a
little
distance.
break.
You know?
You know you bad and girl, your body is perfection. You made me wanna second guess using protection.
Hopefully we can go to heaven. Hopefully we can go to heaven.
All right, Lex, we're back from the break, and your answer depends on whether we're going to go to heaven or not.
Ah,
kidding.
oh gosh,
So-
don't put it on me.
We did. We did.
Stop.
We burned.
Okay, so where are
Where are
you
you now?
and
Where are you in your love life?
now?
In my relationship right now, I would have to be completely honest and candid and real and say that things have
I don't
become-
expect anything less.
Not from me, you shouldn't. No,
For
but
the
yeah.
record, she being honest, she being candid,
I'm
she
keeping
being
it
real.
real. No, it's things have become complicated.
I don't like people
Definitely.
playing
How?
on my phone.
Hell, girl.
Things have become complicated. I would say at this juncture, we have become very divided.
You guys are both at that
Divided.
We-
You guys
She
can't
said,
always stop.
divided.
Well, we're not.
Divided.
We're not working as a team anymore. You know, we both now have separated ourselves from each other, and we've both become very selfish. You know, we're both like very, very, very kind of bullheaded right now. We aren't like, neither of us are willing to make the sacrifices that we were willing to make before, because for me, I think part of it is like a power struggle. And then part of it is that we both want so badly to receive these things from each other, and we're not even willing to put in the work together to facilitate an environment where that can happen anymore. And I'll tell you what I really
It's a
truly,
dangerous place to be.
it is a
It
dangerous
is.
place to be. It is. And it doesn't feel,
Mentally,
it doesn't
physically,
feel
all-
good. It doesn't feel good.
Uneasy.
Sort of.
You're standing on shaky ground.
Well, you get uneasy at first, and then what happens that can be really bad is that then if you start to feel more confident, if you start to feel better, if you start to feel like,
It's dangerous because if something else brings you that good feeling, it makes it that much easier to walk away from the selfishness.
it's true, but both of us are being selfish as hell, you know? And it took me a long time for me to like admit that, because I'm like sitting here right now and I'm like, damn, this conversation is really making me take a look at myself. And I'm going to tell you something that happened in the beginning of our relationship that I think has a heavy effect on the way that things are now. And because, okay, so one of my major things in the relationship is that I feel like I'm not trusted. I feel like there's a ton of insecurity on his end.
What do you
And
think
you-
brings that? What do you?
Yes.
do you
I'm gonna
think-
tell you right now exactly what
Do
it
you
is.
think there's anything that? And I'm not.
I know
that you
what
did
it
in the
is.
beginning.
I know exactly what it is.
What is it?
when he and I got together, I fell so deeply for this man. I love him so, love him so much.
I remember you telling me that. I remember it.
And I've told him this before, that in the beginning, I had a very deep misunderstanding for what I thought that he expected or wanted a relationship to look like. Okay?
What did you think?
I thought, well, because when we talked, I mean, he's like a very open-minded guy, pretty easygoing, sweet, and
whatever it takes to get that hook in.
well, he would tell me in the beginning that, I always want you to be free. I always want you to be yourself. I always want you to be happy.
Until you're mine, and then I want you to be my definition of happiness.
No. I misinterpreted this to the extent that I thought that this man wanted to have an open relationship. Really and truly. I really, honestly thought that.
So you were dating a David.
I guess I misunderstood him, but I don't know
No.
because in the
Let
moment.
me tell you something.
Well,
Stop. Listen. I've gone through this for 2 years.
Okay.
Because David led me to believe that if it were up to him, it would have been open. No names. Sorry. David. There would be
Juicy Smollett.
But hold
Juicy
on.
Smollett.
Wait a second, stop. You're gonna throw me off. The thing is, this man never told me out front, never told me flat out, I want to have an open relationship.
Neither did he.
I didn't ask.
Neither did I.
When he was saying these things to me, I should have been like, so what do you
insinuated.
mean? But I should have been like, so do you mean you want to have an open relationship? Do you want to see other people? I should have asked those questions.
Yeah.
Now, he shouldn't have let me, I agree the way
But you know why you didn't? Because you were afraid of the answer.
But
the
he
same
should've been-
exact reason why I didn't ask the question.
Well,
Alright, so
But-
fast
It
forward.
should be pointed. If you're dealing with somebody, whether it's what people would consider, oh, you're an asshole because you just want to have sex.
No, dude, that's what
Nonetheless,
you want.
I
Tell me.
prefer the knife I can see.
Yes.
Tell me what I'm getting into,
Yes.
Damn right.
so I can proceed
But
accordingly.
no, but
If
time
I
out.
want to be a dumbass.
Time out.
If I'm gonna
Time
share
out.
if I'm gonna share myself
You
with
motherfuckers
you,
want to
No,
see
no.
that knife?
Hold the fuck up!
Don't be trying to assert your fucking dominance.
If
over
I,
me.
you know what I'm saying,
Wait a
like,
minute.
I lost my motherfucking train of thought now.
Right, bitch.
Where
But,
do you think I'm at?
Hey,
You're asking me
hey,
a question.
but y'all heard it got quiet in this bitch when I raised my voice, though. Just so you,
That's
just so
quiet shit right
just so
there.
real clear.
Okay, say
All right.
chest out.
Proceed.
My thing is, and I fucking lost my train of thought now. What the hell,
I
Tyler?
did not
Me the
do-
fuck too.
I'm gonna help you motherfuckers get back on track, alright? Shit.
Not that crusty ass foot, you know.
She is shredding up my fucking feather, man.
So listen, so
My
seriously, so I really had a very deep misunderstanding of
No, I'm back on track.
Oh,
Stop.
shit.
I'm back on track.
Squirrel brain.
So you motherfuckers want honesty
Hell
until
yeah.
you get honesty. Dave,
Damn
okay.
right.
damn right wanted honesty
You
until
say you
I
want an
did-
open relationship
listen,
until I start doing the open shit.
listen, until I was 200% complete honest. This is what I'm doing, and then all of a sudden, I was a liar.
Uh-huh.
I was a cheat. No, I'm telling you.
All right,
what
well,
I'm
let
doing.
me give you a different perspective because guess what?
Same thing happened with you.
No.
Oh God. Okay, let me hear. Tyler, shut up. We don't need any fucking thing for the fucking peanut gallery back there.
So our relationship has become complicated, right? One of my major
Complicated
issues.
or over? Is it Beyonce? No, I'm being
It's what
serious.
I'm saying. It is on the podcast. It's complicated.
Okay, so it's not over. You feel
I'm
like it shall be
She said
saved.
what I'm saying on the podcast.
No, I'm being real. I'm asking because it's complicated. If you go on somebody's Facebook profile
Answer his
and
question.
it says it's complicated,
Complicated is
you're
under
gonna be like,
my
oh,
relationship is
gosh,
almost
I'm dealing
over.
with somebody
It's
who's
just not over yet.
separated but
You
still
guys are
living with
really
his
making
wife.
me
and
feel uncomfortable to speak right now.
Go
I'm
ahead.
telling you, it's complicated.
Okay. Why?
So
Savable?
why are you digging so deep into this?
Answer the question.
Damn.
Savable.
I don't
But all eyes
know.
are
It
on
is
you.
complicated. I don't know.
Okay.
Okay?
So you're holding out hope.
So listen.
Yes.
So this is what happens, right? So I am feeling extremely boxed in. I feel like this person does not trust me at all. I feel like he's very insecure, right? And that's one of my major issues with him.
Yeah.
I do not like the lack of trust. I don't like the accusations.
Then
I
about
don't
that.
like the guilty until proven innocent mentality that he has with me. But I'm going to tell you, and this is what makes me think, would I be the same in his position in the beginning of our relationship when I thought he wanted things to be open? I slept with someone.
So did he.
Ooh,
You
No.
looked in his windows
No,
and
no,
saw
no,
him.
no, no.
it's over.
This was after all of that. When he and I seriously started seeing each other and we were spending, you
It's
know,
over.
nights together, like
But did he know this?
There are some.
consistently.
We had the conversation about
Would
the
you
word.
let me finish? I'm
Rare.
gonna tell you what
Rarely,
happened.
it's over.
I'm
If
gonna
he's got
tell you
that, if that seed's been planted, it's over.
exactly. This is the problem, right? I went months and months without telling because okay, so after this happened, you guys want me to be honest with you. I'm being
Oh, I love
honest
it.
with
I
you.
love it. I'm gonna
Right?
give you a hard time, but I
So
love
months and months after this happened, right? It wasn't until probably, I don't know, a couple weeks later. So we were staying with each other consistently overnights, right? Well, on the rare occasion that we wouldn't stay together, obviously he and I both realized that we didn't want to be staying away from each other. But I'm over here thinking, well, you're not going to have an open relationship with me and then us be like a living, I guess I had started to realize that like,
So was it officially an open relationship, or were you still not
that's
sure?
how I perceived
It
it.
was
So
okay.
then we had the conversation about actually being in a committed, exclusive relationship with each other. And if I recall, I believe he brought this topic up. I don't think I did, but I cannot say for sure. Okay? So when this conversation happened, and it was decided that we were going to be exclusive and that we, now I have this secret. And I did not tell him right away. It took me months. And you know what happened? Within my relationship, because I loved him so much and I wanted things to grow, and I was so happy that finally we had this commitment and this understanding, I'm carrying this secret. Okay? I have this secret. It's on my mind every single fucking day. I know I have to tell this man. I don't want to. Okay?
Why? It was before. So why
No,
does
it
it
was-
matter?
It was after they started talking, but it was before
We had the
they
commitment
had that
conversation.
clarifying
It
conversation.
doesn't even matter. The thing is, I should have fucking told him right away, no matter what. Because in a relationship,
No, I did that, and it's not considered a good thing.
at least I
No
could
matter
have
when
been
you tell
honest with at least I could have felt good about myself. At least I wouldn't have been carrying a secret.
Right.
I carried it for months, and you know what happened? Our relationship was blossoming and it was growing, but there was this holdup, right? And we were not getting there, okay? Before this happened, there were no insecurities. There were no issues, lack of trust. There was nothing like that. No accusations, right? Finally, we were having a really rough time. We just could not get on the same page, right? I'm starting to tear myself apart mentally, physically. I'm starting to look at myself in a bad, bad.
Ladies and gentlemen, trust is gained in drops and lost in buckets.
Are you gonna let
Doesn't
me
make
finish?
It doesn't make us bad.
Tyler,
But I'm
your
just saying
decimals
that
are not even showing up right
Once that motherfucking trust has been
now. Keep going loud.
compromised, regardless of if it's intentional, if it's malicious, whatever, accidental, once that trust has been compromised, you can never, ever, ever restore it to its original level.
Exactly.
Whether that's on account of insecurity, whatever, it can never be restored.
Okay, now may I please finish?
Absolutely, proceed.
Okay. So, I remember this day. I mean, it's so vivid, right? I was beginning to not be able to look in the mirror and see myself the same. Literally. I was looking at myself and I felt like I looked less pretty. I was picking myself apart, right? Because I'm carrying this secret that is weighing so heavily on me that it's now causing me to have emotional stress,
Anxiety.
mental anxiety. I'm not seeing myself the same. I'm having trouble connecting with my partner. He has no clue what the hell is going on. And I came to the conclusion that I've got to tell him. I can't do this anymore, right? So I told him, and he was extremely sweet about it. Thank you so much for telling me the truth. I really appreciate you being honest with me. And I'm sure that that was very sincere, but as time went on, the insecurities, they grew.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys dig the hole in the backyard together or no?
But seriously, I mean,
Did you do a full 6 feet?
over time, it has now culminated into this thing where it's like going through my phone, you know, accusations, little things.
Okay, so listen,
No
53
joke.
years, 53 years on this planet.
You guys love gardening. You guys love plants. It's cliche, it's a corny metaphor, but once that seed has been planted, all it's going to do is grow.
Listen,
Yeah.
You know,
I'm going to tell you,
I mean,
and
no
I
matter
was
how no matter how pure your intentions
I
are,
was going to
it's grow,
speak
man.
on this topic in another podcast, but I'll touch on it slightly here.
Yeah.
No names.
I was living with someone for 5 years.
Juicy small, yeah.
A ginormous flirt.
Mhm.
Beautiful man. And he used to always say to me, Rhonda, if you look hard enough, you're going to find something. And I used to think, okay, in my mind, stupid blonde me, I used to think, okay, if they're not doing anything wrong with him, what am I going to find? I mean, what the fuck is he, what does that even mean? Okay, well now, let's fast forward 8 years. I didn't have to look.
You started looking.
He's married to it now.
Oh yeah, these hoes.
8 years later, I realized what he meant. What he meant was, if you start searching, you already know the fucking answer.
Yeah, good point.
You already know the answer to your question.
But the thing
Because
is,
I'm going to tell you right now, there is nothing more powerful than your gut. That
is
vibration.
my viewpoint.
Boom.
If
Hold on,
you're
though.
at the point where you have to start, when
after
you feel
I was
like
You already know
honest,
the answer.
no, but that's
If
not
you-
true because after I was honest with him about that, I mean, I'm
Well,
dead
no,
ass serious.
not
I was
criticizing-
loyal, 100%.
Not criticizing
I
your
would never
honesty.
do that again.
just speaking
Not
to the state
saying
of mind,
that you weren't
not
loyal.
criticizing your
He
your
started
honesty.
looking through your
If
phone
you
lives.
or your partner gets to the point where you feel like you need
It's
to
already
start
done.
going through the other's phone,
It's already
or
done.
you're questioning what happened during girls' night, it's
Mhm.
over
It's
already.
done.
Whether you want to, it's hard to
Whether
admit,
it's
because if
his
you're
lack
feeling-
of trust in you or his lack of trust in himself.
or
Right.
vice versa. If he goes out, it could be both parties.
Well, because it's such a heavy thing, it'll weigh
Well,
so
once-
heavily. It's not like you don't like the way the person puts their toothbrush back in the toothbrush holder in the mornings. That shit is like,
the toothpaste
that
from
shit's
the middle and
deep.
squeeze it from the
Yeah,
bottom.
it's like
No,
it's
not
gonna
that.
weigh
It
heavily
takes
and crush.
over every
everything.
aspect of your mind.
I think insecurities will breed. I mean, just the most horrible.
But it's like, what did we?
And so it goes
For me-
back to trust being the
Well-
most important aspect of any relationship.
I thought that
You
telling
can
him.
bring anything
I
back to
thought that
life.
telling him would,
It's not
would
even
help
boyfriend,
him be
girlfriend.
able to trust me more, but it did the opposite.
It's not
Well,
even,
because it was before you decided to be in a
it's not even
relationship,
just
so it was a
boyfriend,
moot
girlfriend
point
shit though. Trust is
Not to him, it
the
was not a
basis
moot
for
point.
which
of
you
every
should live.
relationship.
Yes, any
Friendships,
relationship.
partnerships.
That's why I love, like, that's why Stefan hit me harder than anything, because I knew whether it was right or it was wrong. When I got done doing it, I could share it with him, and vice versa. He would share it with me, and it was a spot where
Motherfucker, you're fucked up.
he and I would never judge each other. We'd be like, "Oh shit, bro! Like you did that? Like yo, stop playing!" But it was never like that was my guy, because we
Yeah, that's
were
unconditional love.
100% honest. And
People don't love unconditionally like they
and
say,
it's
because
not
if they
just
did,
boyfriend
then
girlfriend. man.
anything you brought to your partner,
Everything is in question at that point. You put a question mark beside.
it's not
But
unconditional.
the problem with a lot of people today, they want that honesty again, and then when you give it to them,
Oh
they
god.
judge the fuck out of you.
Hell
You
yes.
know why? Because they want the honesty.
For their own benefit.
Well, no, not yeah. I mean,
Not for the betterment of the relationship, it's for their
No,
benefit.
They
Yeah.
want the honesty because they're hoping that when you give that honesty, or when you share with them, that they get the answer they want. They're hoping that it's not another fucking chip off the block.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
damn. You know what I mean? Like, even though
you may be completely different than the last 6
Well, are
women
they a
he's
perfect
dealt with.
person?
No,
Are they
no.
a perfect
That's
person?
my point. I'm not just talking about men, like just women. It's everybody.
Right.
But I'm saying, like, you want honesty from somebody, they give it to you. It's not what you had hoped to hear.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, as different as you may be from everything in my past, you have X, Y, Z in common. I'm immediately associating you with everything negative that happened, or all the distrust, or
Which
you
is
know, y'all
pretty
talk about
unfair.
trauma and all
And,
that shit.
yeah, and
It's not-
I
think
agree
it's
with
unfair.
you because, and this is the
If
thing.
you want my deepest,
No, but
darkest
let me
secrets,
finish. Let me finish. It's unfair. Okay, I get that. That's fair. Y'all saying that is fair. However, it's also, you got to think about yourself. It's unfair to me for me to continue to see the same
oh,
shit.
you're internalizing
And
this.
no, I'm saying.
No, because now you're not speaking
I mean,
generally.
say whatever. I'm
You're
saying
judging.
Yes.
No, I'm saying you learn from trauma, right? That's what the fuck you're supposed to do, or else you repeat those cycles. So if I see, like, okay,
A lot of people don't
you
learn
guys,
from it, they bond to
shut
it,
the
though.
fuck up. You guys are doing XYZ that lines up with XYZ that, you know, the
You've
last 6
experienced
have
in the
done.
past.
It's like, okay, why the fuck am I going to repeat this cycle? As different as you may be personality-wise, your actions are saying the same things. Logically speaking, I should question or I should exit stage left.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
You know what I'm
But
saying?
you
And
have
that's
to
both ways. That's men and women.
But then
man.
you would have to assume that there's a perfect person out there that's never going to make any mistakes.
No, that's not the case. It's about healing yourself first. Get to a point where you're happy by yourself. Everybody wants to add on to their home before their fucking home is built. Build your foundation. Get that concrete laid. Get the fucking small house built and then build an addition onto it. You can't build an addition to something that's not finished. And I feel like people don't take the time to get to know themselves. Really get to know yourselves, your hobbies, your habits, whatever. You find something to where,
and become solid
to where
and grounded
Lex
in that.
or to where Rhonda is happy without Juicy Smouye or who the fuck ever. You know what I'm saying? You're happy day to day, legitimately happy, because I know I tell myself often, like, oh, I'm happy alone, but you still have those spells where loneliness hits you, and it's like, damn, I wish I had a friend, or I wish I had a significant other to share this moment with. You're not truly happy by yourself when you're having those moments.
I think
in
that's
my opinion.
completely that is so
And I'm gonna say that
narrow-minded. Oh my
hear
gosh.
you.
I love
I was
my
so
space,
happy, and when
I love living alone.
Dude.
But there are times where I want
But a
to
person's not
listen.
supposed to have loneliness
I want
because
to
they're
lay in
happy
bed
alone.
and I
No
want to
way.
cuddle with someone and I want to share my day.
Hell yeah.
Not every day. I don't need it. I want it.
Yeah.
I want it.
That's my point.
So what you're saying that like if a person is thinks they're happy with themselves, but then they have moments where
It
they
doesn't
feel
mean I'm
they-
just happy with me. It means
That
I'm
does
really
not mean
And
it's
I
like
will
you're
tell
ready
you,
to share with somebody
and
now.
being
You
single.
guys say that, and then
that's-
a year later, you're like, oh, I want to drop this motherfucker.
I am not saying that
Like-
clearly, as you two have so dug out of me.
I didn't say that
You,
about you.
you guys have you.
I
dug
mean, 2
and
years in,
dug and
I
dug
would
about-
still be
I'm telling you, I
with
have my 3-year rule. I don't
Rico
know you.
Suave or whatever his name. What is it you call him?
Juicy Smouye.
Jose Smouye. I would still be with him if he would just do one thing right and consistent.
Nah, he's done enough, man.
Shit's real out here. But yeah, I mean that's my honest truth, you know. That is my honest truth. Could I say that if the same thing happened to me in our relationship that I wouldn't have become extremely insecure and started
No.
questioning
You
it?
wouldn't have. You're a much stronger woman than that.
No, it's man.
A much stronger
I've
woman.
never had an issue trusting this
I've
person.
had situations
Regardless,
where
you
like,
know,
some
I
people,
just I didn't have that ever.
I've had situations where I've been able to look at the scenario and I've been like, all right, that wasn't her, and I've been able to genuinely overlook it and proceed as if it never happened.
Yeah.
And then I've had other scenarios where it's like,
No.
I try to proceed, but
That seed is
Because she wasn't your person to begin
and I'm
with.
questioning everything.
And you were looking for an excuse. She was, and that's how I feel about my last
Yeah, but there's some
relationship.
people I really
I
want.
feel like I was not
Really
his
want.
person. Otherwise, he would have moved mountains, and he didn't. He didn't even move one mountain, and that was just sending a text in the fucking morning.
Oh man, some things aren't for the podcast.
No, but seriously, if
You
you,
would've
if
changed right back.
he wouldn't have used a rubber band.
It's so unacceptable, man.
All right.
It's so fucking
Anyway,
unacceptable. Hey, we're gonna
listen.
end the podcast on this note.
yes.
These hoes ain't loyal. Bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks. Lick on my nuts and suck my dick.
I
It's
do
a
not
song.
feel that way. I
Yeah,
feel that love is
yeah.
possible and that people can be loyal and people can
Yeah,
change.
I mean,
and
I
people
hold out
can-
my hope for love, but if it don't feel right, it ain't right, man. Leave it alone.
Listen, this is my ending to today's podcast. If you like the podcast, don't just listen.
No, I was saying that.
Please follow. Please like. Please add comments. Please,
Tell us what you want to hear next.
yes, tell us what you want to hear next. And if you ask for honesty, don't get pissed when you get honest.
Hey, be a
We aren't
guest.
here pissed off.
Be a guest on the show, man. Share as much as you're share as much as you're comfortable sharing. But like,
You know what?
let your experiences help others, man. Proceed.
Yeah, nothing's
heal,
off the table.
grow.
I
Hey,
think
guess
you-
what?
Get over
Guess
here.
what? I don't have time for this shit.